Hi, everybody. Hello. You guys are already having too much fun. The mingling is happening. Hi, did anybody watch Channel 10 News this morning? Don't tell me no, just say yes. I'm JC Birch, I'm the morning news anchor, and I'm honored to be hosting this luncheon. Honestly, I think this is my first luncheon since the pandemic began. Isn't this exciting? You guys were having fun out there. We were taking, what, is this too loud? We were taking pictures like it was the red carpet. Didn't you feel like we were at the Oscars or something? That was pretty special. All right, you guys, we're going to have a fantastic luncheon. I'm going to introduce you to amazing people. Recipients are going to be honored for their hard work, and we're just going to have a lot of fun. So bear with me. We're going to serve lunch as we go, okay? So we're going to eat and talk and have a whole lot of fun. I'm so glad I'm here with you today, and I just wanted to let you know that WPLG has been a long-standing transportation partner, collaborating on stories and reporting on all things that are South Florida. And I was just talking to a lovely gentleman named Juan. I can't see you, Juan, but I know you're somewhere out here. Hi. I was just talking to you, and I said, I can't believe I'm going into my 18th year at Channel 10. Can you guys believe it? I know. I'm just teasing. I'm born and bred South Floridian, so I'm so glad to be at my hometown station for so long. So we're going to get into the program, and you guys are going to love everything that we have scheduled for you. But before we get to all that good stuff, I'm so excited to introduce singer that I just met, Cammie Liz. She has a beautiful voice, and she is going to give us the opportunity to sing the national anthem, and we're going to listen in. So welcome, Cammie, to the stage.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, lunch is being served. Thank you, Cammie. That was gorgeous. Okay, so today the Broward Metropolitan Planning Organization is celebrating the impact of its significant role to plan and direct transportation infrastructure projects throughout the region, and they will also honor those who advocate for smart planning and connectivity. So, Richard Blattner, we're going to be talking to, the Conference of Minority Transportation official Fort Lauderdale chapter, the Florida House of Representatives member Christine Hunchofsky, and Deputy, love that, clap away, and Deputy City Manager Sheila Rose. Okay, so we've got those three special people, and you guys know it takes a village. But there has to be a leader. I've got a little partner in crime coming up here to help me. Someone with a vision to help an organization thrive and evolve. So help me welcome in Broward MPO Executive Director, Greg Stewart.
It's really wonderful to see a packed room after the several years we've all gone through. And honestly, it's great to be here with each and every one of you. I'm excited that we're launching today's event. My colleagues around the country, in Denver, in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in New York, in San Diego, they get together once a year and celebrate their achievements, their shared achievements, and that's what we're here today to do. I'm so proud of the work of all of our partners here, whether it's at the cities, the county, the state, and even at the U.S. Department of Transportation, the housing, urban development groups, everybody we get to work with at the MPO, it's phenomenal. Right now is the right time for us to start this new tradition, share and support our mission moving forward. As you know, today is actually the second week of Infrastructure Week. Basically, we finally got a bill passed up in Washington, D.C. $1.2 trillion. Think about that for a second. That number is astronomical. But that number is going to be important for a lot of our other folks that not necessarily are always recognized. Our sponsors today, Florida Power and Light, are going to power the future of what transportation is going to look at for the next 50 years. T.Y. Lin is going to help engineer what that future is going to look like here in Broward. BYD Motors is going to actually provide vehicles and technologies that are going to be necessary to move us in the next 50 years. And I cannot forget our sponsors at the Board of Realtors. If it wasn't for our folks at real estate, none of us would own our homes. None of us would be here in Southeast Florida. They have been able to bring folks down, and because of that, we have been able to create the world we live in. Our future is really all interconnected at every level. Our site sponsors include my friends at the South Florida Transportation Authority, aka Tri-Rail. They have done a phenomenal job. Let's hear out. They have been doing a phenomenal job. Joe Yosbeck, you're somewhere in here. I remember back in the day when, before Tri-Rail existed, was like, hey, we need to do something while we're widening 95. Kimberly Horn, South Florida Commuter Services, Tyndall Oliver, Brand Advocates, where are you? Yeah, we're not going to hear from you. All right, Downtown Transportation Authority, Goodman Public Relations, Circuit, check out the stuff up front. Wheels Lab, check out those new bikes they've brought in. And then, of course, my favorite law firm on earth, Weiss, Sirota, Hoffman. Sorry for the other law firms here. We love you too. That said, I'm excited that you're all here and that we kind of move on. I want to also talk about the events planning team. And can the members of my team stand up for a second? Carol, everybody, thank you very much for dedicating your lives and your careers to making a difference in transportation here in South Florida. Vilma, Jose, Kyra, and Hannah, thank you for giving up your days and nights to making sure that every name tag was correct and almost correct, and everything was perfect because it was incredible. But before I share more with you about the work we're doing, it gives me great pleasure to introduce somebody who's been making a difference as the current board chair of the Broward Metropolitan Organization, as well as the great mayor of the city of Pembroke Pines. He's been mayor for 25 years, and before that, he was in the aviation industry. And he's a fellow Pittsburgher like myself. So please welcome Mayor Frank Ortiz.
Thank you, Greg. Hi. What a great audience. I'm not a Pittsburgher. I went to college in Pittsburgh, but I'm a New Yorker. Hey.
There you go, New York.
And I can't believe it, 18 years I've been watching J.C. Birch. I get my coffee in the morning and I watch J.C. Birch. Let me just say thank you, Greg. Over the years, I certainly have seen a lot of change in Broward County. Our populations have definitely grown. And if Mayor Trintelis was here, I'd give him the news that I just heard, that Pembroke Pines now is the #1 city in Broward County. It's not true. That was close. We're close. We have added and expanded roadways, increased our port traffic for passenger cruises and freight, seeing the Fort Lauderdale Airport grow with a new runway and international service. It is why, now more than ever, the Broward MPO is vital to every city and our county as a whole. I offer my deepest congratulations to today's honorees. And I say thank you to Greg, my fellow MPO board members, and the professional team who carry on the work every day. Now let's watch a short video.
Everyday life is connected to many networks of mobility. Our food, clothes, electronics, and more are at our fingertips via a network of transportation modes that require roads, highways, airports, and seaports. Plus, we depend on access to cars, buses, trains, boats, and planes too. It all interconnects and is vital for a thriving metropolitan area like Broward County with nearly 2 million residents. This is why the work of the Broward Metropolitan Planning Organization is so important. Planning for safe roadways, sustainable infrastructure, better connectivity and mobility, plus bike lanes and walking paths, all which impact our quality of life.
We serve a tremendous purpose as a vital resource to our region. Not everyone is aware of who we are and what we do, but we play a significant role in how neighborhoods thrive and businesses succeed.
The Broward MPO is at the pulse of most sustainable road improvement and mobility projects in Broward County. Expert planners, working hand in hand with city, state, and federal partners, execute well-researched projects from start to finish. Years ahead, MPO planners are looking at transportation trends, traffic and growth patterns, and safety concerns. And when projects are underway, every dollar is managed by the MPO, following strict funding guidelines.
The Broward MPO is the best partner a city can have. They are planning and implementing projects that greatly improve where we live and work. We owe it to our citizens to utilize the MPO for its superb planning and project oversight.
The question is, what is the future for this nationally recognized organization? The Broward MPO plans years ahead through Vision 2100 and has a list of proposed projects to undertake already in the planning stages. The end goal is to improve neighborhoods and help provide better access to people and places. Now a 52-person strong organization, there is no stopping their progress.
Broward County continues to evolve as it welcomes more and more residents who aspire for the warm and sunny, everyone under the sun South Florida lifestyle. We are grateful for the important work that the Broward MPO does to positively impact our residents and visitors, as well as our growing business community.
The future of the Broward MPO is strong. The present and future work will have a measurable positive impact by ensuring transportation projects are well selected, funded, and delivered. And with our valued private and public partners, we will continue to achieve miles of success.
I also want to thank one other group, and this one I wanted to shout out special. Mayor Levy, where are you? City of Hollywood and the City of Hollywood CRA have been phenomenal partners. Today we're actually going to be celebrating one of their own from the city's commission back in the day, Mayor, or former chair, Dick Blattner. But that said, I'm going to indulge myself for a minute with you all's attention because I want to talk about a little bit about where we're headed in these miles of success, where we've been and where we go. And for those of you that are watching the screens up above, that is something I want to say really importantly. Follow the letters and see if you find a pattern. You ready? We're going to go to accomplishment. Very good. So I actually want to talk about quiet zones, the Board of Realtors, our friends at the RTA, our friends at Brightline and the FEC. We were actually able to create the longest single quiet zone in the country, not just doing it for Broward, but in Miami-Dade and Palm Beach as well. So from downtown Miami all the way up to downtown West Palm Beach, people can have a chance to have quiet. And for the hundreds of thousands of residents that live along both corridors, they're actually able to not hear the horn blowing unless there's an emergency. That changed the value of real estate and actually made it much easier to market properties in that area. It changes the tax rolls and tax base of our communities and makes things different. Our Tiger Grant that we got from the Department of Transportation up in Washington, D.C., touched 5 different communities of over $19 million worth of bike lane projects. Our regional sea level rise grant, when A1A in Fort Lauderdale washed out because of Hurricane Sandy, we recognized we had an issue down here for our transportation system. But we didn't just focus on Broward. We focused on 4 counties, Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade, and Monroe. We know every state and federal facility that will be underwater, when it will happen, and how it will happen. We are preparing our infrastructure for that future. Again, that $1.2 trillion bill can't come soon enough. Our complete streets projects in downtown Hollywood, in City of Sunrise, have made a difference in connecting the communities back together. The real estate investment that follows with that is the economic heart of what transportation ultimately does with our community. We finished a downtown mobility hub in Fort Lauderdale, and we're moving on to City of Hollywood for the next mobility hub. By the way, our friends in San Diego has now copied that idea of mobility hubs and are moving forward. Achievement. The U.S. DOT Highway Safety Award. We actually are the only MPO in the nation, there's 420 of us, that have won this award for highway safety. Our Complete Streets Master Plan to make a difference in people's lives so people aren't dying in the streets, being run over by cars, being hit in every type of direction. We actually did something to change the way we look at our projects. We've received these national best practices not only from US DOT, but the American Metropolitan Planning Organization, the National Association of Regional Councils, the American Planning Association, even the NACO, the County Association at the national level. They're recognizing our organization because of the efforts we're doing, and not just here in Broward, but here in Southeast Florida. Our state best practices, whether it's the Florida American Planning Association Awards, FDOT provided us awards through their Transplex group, and then even the statewide MPO looks to us and gives us awards almost on an annual basis, saying the differences that you're making in communities. Action. Our Safe Streets Summit. That particular event is one of my favorite. It started with 50 people about 9 years ago in this Fishing Hall of Fame. Now it's over 550 people every year. We rotate it between Broward, Palm Beach, and Miami-Dade. We bring in people from all over the world to discuss what we can do with our streets, how we can make our citizens' lives better, what life could be in a place that's greatly improved. One of the things we also look at in this is a Vision Zero, and I talked about that a minute ago, but one of the things that is most heartbreaking in my job is when I get a call from some family member who's lost their child, their husband, their wife, not just to a car accident, but because a veteran, actually, one of them that hit me the most, tried to get to the VA hospital center and got run over by a car. We took that person's grief, like she lost her husband, and we turned it into an action. She serves on a lot of our committees. She moves forward to try to make a difference in people's lives. There's a woman also in city of Fort Lauderdale who lives in a neighborhood that isn't exactly the best. And she watched children die in front of her. She actually videotaped one day of a child being hit by a truck. We took that particular facility and actually did the safety improvements that were necessary to make a difference for that family, the families of the children that still live in that area, and also in memory of the child that passed away. Our infrastructure bill, and I talked about that, $1.2 trillion. $19 billion is guaranteed to come to the state of Florida. Of that $19 billion, there's $550 billion of discretionary money. We need to take 19 and turn it to $36 billion. We need to be working together, all of us, city, county, state, to make this happen. And the only way we can do that is doing it together. If we look at another resource that we have, and that's our assets. And our assets are our people. My assets where I work is my team members. They're willing to give up their Saturday and Sundays. They're willing to give up their Friday nights. They're willing to give up their Monday afternoons. They are willing to do things that are actually taxing on all levels, but they know that we are going to deliver a product to our communities that we're going to make a difference. Like JC, I grew up here. I may have been born in Pittsburgh and went back to Pittsburgh for college, but the reality is this is my home. I plan on retiring here. My team members, most of them are from here. We are here to make a difference in our community. Our board of directors, phenomenal group, and I've watched now during my 15 years in this job. They've turned over multiple times, but each time they turn over, we get stronger and better at what we're doing, and the advocacy and the intent of what the organization is trying to accomplish grows, and that's super important. Our partners, whether it's the U.S. Department of Transportation, FDOT, Tri-Rail, all the other agencies in the state, we actually recognize each other and are moving things forward. The other day I was up in Pensacola, Florida, speaking to 3 different MPOs. And they were, of course, saying how they didn't want to be like South Florida. And I told them, congratulations, because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to be exactly like us. So then, we also have to look at other partners, our business community, the Greater Fort Lauderdale Alliance, the Chamber of Commerce, the League of Cities, all the folks we work with. These are assets that we all need to be taking advantage of. Then we have our physical assets. We have our airports. We have FXE in the house, but we also have FLL. We have these airports that are phenomenal. We have seaports. You know, Port Everglades does a phenomenal job of moving in all the things we need to keep our area moving. That's an important factor. Thank you, Port Everglades. Then we have our train lines. Again, I mentioned them earlier. They have made a difference in our lives. The reason a majority of us are down here is because this guy named Henry Flagler had an idea for a railroad. Then the air conditioning didn't hurt. Buses, our bus systems, our transit systems that are existing, whether they're in Miami-Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach, they are making a difference. And then ultimately, our schools, both public and private and charter, as we're moving forward, our universities, FAU, Nova, FIU, FIU, and Barry to the south, all of these universities are making a difference. Broward College is also there. If you look at our advancements, and I'm almost to the end of the A's. Basically, so I gave it away. We have policy changes, and we're making changes at every level. And I want to thank our advocates that are here today from TSE, as well as our advocates in Washington, Holland, and Knight, because they've made changes at the state level and the federal level that are allowing dollars to come to us and be more flexible. That way we don't have to repave and redo I-95 and 595 and I-75 every 10 years. We can actually make advancements in our transit system. We can actually make advancements with our neighborhoods and our local governments. Then we look at electrification, and FP&L is a great partner. They're about to be the next ExxonMobil. Basically, all of our infrastructure is going to be electric. Our cars, our trucks, our delivery vehicles, our bicycles. The electric future is phenomenal. We're going to be working with FP&L to ensure that there's enough capacity to meet the demands that is going to come for our future. We look also to our autonomous side of things. And I know a lot of people are afraid of this. Right now, level 5 technology is available, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit. What technology is out there for the future? My car can stop itself, can back into a parking space, can actually do things that I don't want it to do. However, it can, and eventually we'll be letting go of the wheel. It may take a while. Truck platooning is already happening. Vehicles are connecting together on our interstate highway system so that way they get through our communities and deliver products from our ports to our distribution sites. Our electric buses, please check out the BYD vehicle out in front. That electric bus is our future. That is going to change our air quality. It's going to change the way people move around. Our personal vehicles are all going to be electric. You watch, within the next 40, 50 years, my gasoline car will be an antique. Will be an antique anyway. Then we have our connected technologies and that vehicle-to-vehicle connectivity. Our cars can actually communicate with each other, provide distances required, provide you data on how fast you need to move to catch the next green light. It's fascinating what's out there and the technology that we have today. But finally, the last A is aspiration. And we have this vision. And one of the things that makes communities great is to have a long-term vision. Chicago didn't become Chicago because it was on a lake. It became Chicago because 150 years ago, somebody said, we need a vision and we need to follow it. And that is happening. Basically, what we have in Vision 2100 lays out what our future will be. And that vision was actually moved forward, not today, but in 1972. Commitment 2045 is actually part of delivering that 2100 vision. We've been moving forward with that. But soon, we'll be rolling out the next thing, Peter Gies and company, guess what? We have Commitment 2050. It's that next 25 years that $1.2 trillion is going to be spent on. And we're really talking about where we're headed. And that vehicle particularly is a BYD vehicle from China. They have advanced their technology on transportation beyond levels that we have here in the United States. I had an opportunity to meet with their U.S. and South American chair. And their vision is not 2 weeks, 5 months, 10 years. It's what's going to happen in the next 100. And all of our folks need to be thinking this way. But until we're there, and it's going to happen with our children and our grandchildren, JC's kids, we have to be working together to make things happen. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to JC. And JC is going to bring up Anant, who's going to talk about the future.
Okay, that's impressive. I was paying attention like a student. You guys are planning to 2100. I can't even plan next month with a 5-year-old, okay? Very impressive. We are going to learn so many things today with our luncheon here, but right now, this is the part that we are so fortunate to have the featured guest speaker. Greg already gave us a little tease about who it is, but it's part of today's program, and Anant Dinamani is a principal at Deloitte Consulting, one of today's sponsors, too, part of the experience, and he serves as a leading expert in the future of mobility, telecommunications, automotive, and public transportation fields. And just over the last 5 years, Anant has led the development of new technologies and new practices for tackling regional, data-informed challenges around people, economy, and mobility. And he has unique expertise in the future of mobility, having worked across the commercial and public sectors at all levels. So I would like to welcome to the stage right now, we're going to hear from Anant Dinamani. Welcome.
What a crowd here. That's amazing. So, firstly, I mean, you kind of listen to what Greg was talking today. I don't think it's of any surprise to any of you that transportation management is one of the hardest jobs of our century here. I mean, there's so much change, so much evolution, and it really is at its core for us to solve for the problems that we're facing in our community. It is not surprising that infrastructure is aging. Thanks to the bill, we're going to address that. Population in urban areas is going to continue growing. That's no surprise either. Traditional solutions in the way private sector has worked them solves for a pointed problem. it doesn't really integrate well because they're all aiming for supply side demand, which is, hey, use my service, and therefore it's not really integrated. But at the heart of all of this, equity, climate, community, and public health concerns have continued to rise. And we all know that it's interrelated to transportation. And the question is, how do we work it? There's a side of this which is like, okay, we can start building more, we can start addressing for the demand for a lot of people moving to cities, but the question is, is building our way out of this problem the right approach? I mean, just the amount of construction cost and cement and stuff and how that contributes to greenhouse gas and environmental issues. In itself, you have to think about, should you start using what you've already built better? Can you improve the utilization and optimize use of infrastructure that you've already built? Why do we say that? So we've been studying this for about 6 years, and transportation was new to Deloitte. We've served a lot in the state area, but local governments in the way transportation needed to be served was new to us. But we set a large aspiration. We said, look, all these vertically integrated industries that we serve, telecom, tech, auto, governments, they're all going to get disrupted, right? When you think about autonomous vehicles and how autonomous vehicles have shaped how we has disrupted the industries, you think about how can we be at the center of it? And so we set a large ambition. We said we're going to make it faster, cheaper, safer, and cleaner with a focus on greater access, inclusivity, and equity for our people. And that was the ambition we set. We started working with the World Economic Forum on this topic. We said, look, there has to be these large interconnected systems that help you do supply-demand management. You think about telecommunication network. We all use cell phones. It's finite bandwidth. So we were like, if telecommunication companies can use finite bandwidth for highest efficiency and profit generation, why can't roads be treated the same way? It's easy to actually think of roads as finite network, and you use it in ways that actually helps you manage supply-demand. So we started thinking about it, and we said, let's design a seamless intermodal mobility system. We went to the World Economic Forum. We got a global stage to work with global leaders all over the world. Nobody denied this. They said, that's great. We should have intermodal systems. We should have seamless intermodal technologies that let us do that. We went to SANDAG, which is one of the partner MPO agencies for here in Broward, and we actually launched this idea in collaboration with them, where SANDAG, as part of their 5 big moves, put out a statement saying we're going to launch next operating system. But the problem was that it was never about technology. We hit a brick wall. It was actually the governmental approach to the adoption of all of this, which has been the biggest kind of learning for us. We realized that the transformation has to take place in the way governmental processes use these technologies. And I'll get a little bit more into that. Yesterday, and what I mean by that, like it's kind of in some ways we're living this. A lot of the governmental agencies are wired for long-term planning and execution. It's not surprising. We were building roads, we were building train lines. It took a long time to design them and build them. So all our processes were designed for that purpose. But today, technology is changing it. Every 3 months, you got something new. And the way all these technologies are going to be adopted is if you don't roll them out correctly, it's never going to help. And that's why we see a lot of technology pilots taking place all over the world. But scaling has been a problem. Guess where we are scaling? Singapore, Dubai. Why? Because governmental processes and structures are simpler. So tomorrow, what we believe is governmental structure should work towards integrated and iterative approaches in ways that shapes your long-term plan. So what does that mean? We believe that in order for technology to be adopted appropriately in ways that shapes long-term infrastructure planning, hard and soft, you have to put the resident in the middle of it. This is no different than how any technology company works it. You think about how Amazon started. They started selling books. What did it do? It got us all hooked. And then what did they start doing? They sold 1,000 additional products on top of it. So the question is, what's that one thing that you're going to start with that's going to build trust with your residents and gets them hooked to their smartphones and uses the smartphone as a method to solve for transportation requirements? And how do you do that? You need hyperlocal strategies. Every neighborhood is different. Every community is different. Some are getting gentrified at different paces. The equity challenges are different. Climate resiliency, the climate problems are different. So every neighborhood is extremely different. What you have to understand is, what are the 3 or 4 things we can do to advance those set of challenges for that neighborhood? Give choices. What kind of choices? And this is where there's a lot of technology today where how you forecast these ideas and how you then measure them could be an iterative loop. That's what artificial intelligence is. That's how the tech companies use artificial intelligence to create a circular loop in the way we all get hooked to our smartphones. The question is, can we start building similar technologies and applying it custom ways for the region? By doing so, you can prepare for a transformation. Question is, how do you get started? We believe there are 3 key things that need to happen for this model and methodology to scale. First, we need regional leadership. We can't have a region have 20 different agendas and 20 different approaches to solve this problem. Think of this as a network that needs to be managed collectively. And for that, we need a regional leader that believes in the vision and can work with all the entities in the region to advance this problem. 2, every agency needs to question their roles. What are your roles going to be? Should MPO become the data science organization of the future? Should transit become the customer experience organization where all things experience and the way we interact is managed by transit? So should the DOT become a product organization in terms of how products are rolled out, which is your roads or bridges? So there's a lot of question around how the roles need to evolve, and that needs an integrated approach too. And finally, funding. Yes, we are getting the opportunity from the federal government to apply a lot of it, but don't get me wrong, these technologies are going to be expensive, and we need sustainable methods that's going to carry this forward for the next 100 years. So in summary, assign a regional leader, set near-term and long-term goals for how you want to transform as a region, focus on your residents, focus on solving their problems, which is what you all do, but the question is come up with repeatable methods that you can apply to every neighborhood to solve their problems. Execute on transforming the governmental roles and operational processes. And finally, measure progress. Measure progress throughout iteratively and advance this 1 quarter at a time while advancing your long-term agendas along the way. We have a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that the federal government is offering through this bill to change how we operate and structure ourselves. And this is the time to do it. So with that, I give the Broward MPO a great thank you for giving us this opportunity, and Broward County in general. I think the way you all come together today is something that I've not seen come together in other regions at this scale. So we really appreciate the opportunity. Look forward to partnering and collaborating in this region. Thank you.
Thank you, Anant. All right, you ready to honor some distinguished awards here? Honorees, you guys, come on. This is the fun part. Okay, I need a little help to give out these awards, so I'm going to ask a special someone to come out to give these awards for each recipient. So to help honor our first award recipient, I want to tell you about our award presenter. On behalf of the City of Hollywood, we actually have the Hollywood Community Redevelopment Agency, which is today's presenting sponsors. And the Hollywood Commissioner, Carol Shuham, is a member of the Metropolitan Planning Organization Board, the Broward County Climate Change Task Force, and the Broward County Condominium Structural Issues Committee. She's recognized as a Florida League of Cities Home Rule Hero, and also Hollywood Hills High School, I should say, the Outstanding Mentor of the Year nominee. So please welcome Carol Shuham as we direct your attention. Hi. As Carol comes up, I want you to look at the screens for a moment. We have a video for you from the City of Hollywood.
In the heart of South Florida, there's one Broward County. from the sawgrass to the seagrass, a diverse blend of people and places.
Hollywood is incredibly diverse. It's multicultural, multi-ethnic, multilingual, and that provides us with an amazing competitive advantage, particularly as we look to access markets such as the Caribbean, Latin America, and the European markets. It's an amazing place to be.
Hollywood has continued to develop. It's really benefited Margaritaville as we continue to grow. This is our home.
Hollywood is home to more than 157,000 permanent residents, over 10,000 businesses, and home away from home for over 3 million visitors each year. The city has invested more than $600 million in infrastructure improvements, and along with partners like the Broward MPO, have constructed projects to improve people's lives like new and safer routes to school, bike lanes, and ADA accessible multimodal options.
These investments are laying the foundation for the city's future for the next 100 years. All that we aspire for our city is now starting with the renewal of these facilities and infrastructure, and it's going to welcome in a lot of private investment as well. We're already seeing it, and it's only going to grow.
Private investment in the city includes projects such as Block 40 at the site of the Great Southern Hotel, the new Icon office building in downtown, and affordable housing options like the Adams Street and Hudson Village projects located in the southern portions of the city.
City government is very business friendly, very cooperative environment. It's a good place to build.
We think the greatest benefit or potential that Hollywood brings to us is really its location at what I call the 50-yard line of South Florida.
This is where we want to be. This is probably the most pivotal time in the city's history. It's our moment, we're poised, we're ready, and we really have to seize this moment. This is our time.
An ideal location in South Florida, Hollywood is where residents and visitors alike enjoy a lifestyle where you can love where you live, work, and play.
We're blessed with so much beautiful water in this area between the houses and the boats, the nature preserve, the ocean.
7 miles of sandy beach attached to an urban dynamic city. The City of Hollywood congratulates Richard Blattner. Thank you for your many years of service and untiring dedication to our South Florida community.
Go Hollywood. It is really, really an honor today to introduce Mr. Richard Blattner, the recipient of the Broward Metropolitan Planning Organization's first time ever Lifetime Achievement Award. I had the absolute privilege to serve on the City of Hollywood Commission with Dick prior to 2020, November 2020. But our connection goes back much, much further. I first met Dick at a T-ball party. After a T-ball game where his grandson Stephen and my middle son Matt, when they were very little, were on the same team. This was in the late 90s, I believe, and never in a million years could we have predicted this moment today where our lives have become so wonderfully intertwined. Dick served on Hollywood City Commission from 1994 to 2000. He was re-elected in 2007 and continued serving through 2020. While serving as city commissioner, Dick was the MPO board's district representative for District 4, and for 8 years served as the MPO board chair. A year ago, I became the District 4 MPO representative from Hollywood, and as you might imagine, those are some pretty big shoes that I have to fill. Has not happened. Chairman Blattner's impact on our city, our county, and on the MPO during his long tenure is quite remarkable. Residents literally encounter Dick's work at every single turn. As a businessman, a veteran of the Korean War, and then a public servant, Dick has always focused on finding solutions. And not surprisingly, he always asks, how can we do it better? In Judaism, there is a central conviction called tikkun olam, which means, basically, the obligation of human beings for fixing problems in the world. Dick exemplifies tikkun olam in all aspects of his life, and his MPO work has allowed him to do even more. Dick became a transportation expert and an impassioned advocate for mobility, always looking for creative solutions to problems both big and small.
Not only did he provide leadership during the MPO's comprehensive Commitment 2045 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, but he played a key role in developing and adopting 3 strategic business plans. Everyone who knows Dick, including the amazing staff at MPO, think of him the way I do, someone with lots and lots of stories to tell and years of experience, and with the generous spirit to share those with many as a trusted mentor. Did I say Dick had years of experience? I meant Dick had years and years and years and years of experience. And for all those years, he served as commissioner and chaired the MPO board. He was also volunteering on boards relating to government, including the Broward Planning Council and the Water Resources Advisory Board, and other community organizations, especially like the YMCA in Hollywood, where Dick passionately has served on the board and is the resident fish, spending nearly every morning at the pool, swimming many pre-dawn miles. In addition to the YMCA, Dick has served as a member of the Sheraton Technical Center Advisory Board, a member of the Friends of the Sterling Road Library Advisory Board, and a volunteer at Broward Outreach Center, and much, much more. Dick has been and continues to be a true mentor to me, and I always tell him, Dick, when I grow up, I want to be just like you, except I would like to keep my hair. Hollywood, Broward County, the MPO, and our entire nation have been so lucky to be able to take advantage of Dick's endless talents. When you think about what a Lifetime Achievement Award is really all about, the worth of contributions of an individual that they've made over their whole career rather than a singular achievement, I can think of no one more fitting than my colleague and most importantly, my friend, Dick Blattner, to receive the Broward Metropolitan Planning Organization's inaugural Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations, Dick. Come on up.
Thank you.
I think you should know that by now. It is heavy. Thank you, Carol. It's like they're giving me this award because I'm almost dead. And I had to hurry. Sorry to disappoint you. Well, thank you, Carol. Thank you, Josh and Raylan, for that presentation for the movie. It's terrific. I have 325 of my very best friends, and for all the time that I've been here, I either know you personally or I know your companies well from the times that you've appeared before the MPO. But let me introduce my wife first. Bunny, just stand up. And my son and daughter-in-law, David and Elaine Blattner, are somewhere in the back. Just wave. Glad to see them. I want to congratulate the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials for their excellent work. And also congratulations to Christine Hashevsky. It took me a year to figure out how to pronounce the last name.
So we would refer to her on the commission as the gentle lady from Parkland. Christine provided extraordinarily strong leadership at the darkest days of Parkland and is currently serving in the state legislature. And believe it or not, she likes it. I don't understand that. And then also to the lovely Sheila Rose, who has, whose creativity and leadership has helped to make Coconut Creek a highly desired place to live in Broward County. And Sheila, we're very proud of you. So I'd also want to recognize my friends and colleagues from the YMCA, which I've been involved in now for over 20 years. Thank you for joining us today. And certainly the phenomenal staff of the MPO, which for those of you who have had any contact with the MPO as a partner or as a potential vendor or whatever, very, very talented group, great people. And to all those who have served on the MPO board with me, many of you here today, it was a pleasure to work with you, dedicated public servants. My dad would be so proud today. Astonished would be a better word, because he was so worried about me when I was about 13 or 14 years old that he didn't think I was going to amount to anything. And he sent me to a psychiatrist. Actually, I think a psychologist. We couldn't afford a psychiatrist rather. And after the battery of tests, the psychologist said to my father that the best he could hope for me was to be a gas station attendant or a rabbi. So if you think about it, the psychologist was wrong, because he saw gas station attendant and rabbi as choices, when he should have seen them as a continuum. And that's the way I've looked at it. Like many of you, my road in life and in business wasn't like a superhighway that the MPO built. It was like an MPO, like a road that the MPO paved over, bumpy and curvy road. I've worked for a number of companies. I've been fired twice. Once was legitimate. And so I started my own business, so the only person that could fire me was me. In the period of 10 years, we moved from Chicago to Hollywood to Springfield, Illinois, to San Francisco, and back. 4 moves in 10 years, 4 houses in 10 years, and my wife bought all of them because I was working. But since arriving back here, I've been able to volunteer for as a fundraiser for the United Way. I've worked as a volunteer for the Broward Outreach Center. I was fortunate enough to serve on the Community Development Advisory Board for Hollywood, which is where I really began to understand what the problems of a community are all about. As you heard, I've been involved with the YMCA. I served as the chairman of the Broward County YMCA board, and I've conducted 3 capital campaigns for the Hollywood Y. No more. I'm done. And I've served on a number of city and county boards, as you've heard. Naturally, during this time, I've had the opportunity to work with, let me back up, because I can't ignore the fact that people elected me to be their commissioner for a number of years. I served, as you know, for 19 years, not consecutively, but over a 26-year period of time. And I was also fortunate that, oh, by the way, if you want to count, that's 10 elections. I won 6, I lost 4. Spoiler alert, winning is better. But for 16 of those years, the commission allowed me to serve on the Broward MPO. Initially, that was no great honor. Nobody else wanted to do it. because the Broward MPO was considered a worthless organization. It was until 10 years ago, it was just a pimple on the back of Broward counties, lost somewhere in the organization chart, going nowhere, doing nothing. And the members, participants, were only interested in making sure that their city got a street paved. But at some point, a group of people led by Ray Carroll Armstrong, who was the mayor of Plantation at the time, and Dan Sturmer, who was the mayor, who was a commissioner from Weston, Bruce Roberts, who was a commissioner from Fort Lauderdale, myself, and a lovely woman named Allegra Murphy. And by the way, I have to tell you, I love the name Allegra Murphy. It just says something to me. Worked together to create an independent MPO. And the independent MPO was born August 9th of 2010 with an operating budget of $3.4 million and 16 employees. Going into 2022, the operating budget is $8.2 million with 52 employees. And this is really, really important, especially our keynote speaker, and Greg addressed this too. Next year, the Broward MPO will allocate and manage $1.56 billion of transportation resources for Broward County. Pretty amazing. Naturally, during all this time, I've had the opportunity to work with many fine men and women. But I will tell you that the best of them, without debate, without discussion, without disagreement, was Greg Stewart. As someone once said, Greg has an inquiring mind. He's like Google. He's always searching and looking for opportunities to make the MPO more effective, to create new ideas, new projects, to expand the work that we do for the benefit of everybody in Broward County. He encourages participation. He loves debate. He loves discussion. You can't rattle him. If he doesn't know the answer, he'll find it. If he knows one and he's wrong, he'll admit it. And I want to tell you a brief story of the kinds of things that the MPO does. It has nothing to do with building a road. A number of years ago, we were discussing grants that cities were going to receive based on submissions that they submitted for funding. And I was really aggravated to see that Hollywood wasn't getting any money. And I said to Greg, how come Hollywood isn't getting any money? And he said, because they don't know how to write a grant. Well, if you think about it, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Pompano, maybe, the largest cities in the county should have had somebody on staff that would know how to write a grant. There are 31 cities in Broward County, and some of them have no one who would know how to write a grant. And so we created a team at the MPO that went to every city and conducted grant workshops so that everybody would have a better bite, a bigger bite of the apple moving forward. That's the kind of thing that the MPO really should be proud of. And another thing that the MPO should be proud of, and I hope all of you who are in a position to hire will take this into consideration. One of the most wonderful things that Greg has done, he has hired people who have never ridden on a train or a bus and who can't spell MPO, and hired them and made them very successful. And that is predominantly your staff today. And they are doing a spectacular job. I think it can safely be said that the Broward MPO has succeeded beyond its wildest imagination. It's a leader among MPOs in the United States. It has a reputation in Washington, a relationship with the Department of Transportation in Washington that will enable us to receive the lion's share of some of that money. So Greg has encouraged me and he's energized me. I love working with him. I could pick up the phone at any hour of the day, prior to my going to bed at 9 or 9:30 at night. And we could debate and argue and submit ideas to each other, and he would tell me if I was wrong. But when I was finished with that conversation, I knew that we were on the right path. So, well, today it's a great honor for me to receive this award. I'm reminded of other award shows for lifetime achievement, like the Kennedy Center. And I thought to myself, does anybody know whatever happened to those people that got that award? They're never heard from again. Well, I have decided not to go quietly into the night. And as they say in Texas, au contraire, as long as Greg has a few jobs for me and I can continue to serve on the Hollywood Planning and Development Board and the YMCA and a few other things, I'm fine. I really am fine. Do I miss what I did before? You're darn right I do. But I'm fine. And I want to thank all of you today for joining me. And I want to thank Greg especially for arranging this. And hope you all have a happy holiday. Drive safely. And thank you again for joining us today.
You know, when Richard passed by me coming onto the stage, he said, well, Carol already said anything. I'm not going to have anything to say. And I said, I'm not worried about you. Wasn't that beautiful? Now, I have the honor of welcoming back. I don't even know why I'm welcoming you back. Everybody knows who you are. Should I call you Google? Grant writer, teacher?
Thank you. Actually, unfortunately, Ben Wesley from Florida Power and Light is not able to attend today because he is out with a little bit of a flu. So, the abundance of caution, we wanted to ensure that no one here had the transmission opportunity. So, I am going to be awarding this on behalf of the Florida Power and Light Company. That we're presenting an MPO Champion Award to COMPTO, the Conference of Minority Transportation Officials. COMPTO, which is really an important agency. Broward is one of these unique places in the nation that we're majority minority. And actually what COMPTO represents is leading national advocacy for the employment of a diverse and inclusive and providing contract opportunities in the transportation industry. This is actually super important for our region and for all of the citizens of Southeast Florida. The Fort Lauderdale chapter was actually only founded in 2009 and has grown into one of the largest chapters with more than 100 members. For the past 7 years, the chapter has awarded scholarships to local high schools and college students who have a strong desire to work within the transportation industry. And that's important for our future, because to get to 2100, we need our children to be actually moving towards that direction. COMPTO is a champion for passing the torch to that next generation of workers who is going to bring us to that future. Accepting the award will be COMPTO Fort Lauderdale Chapter Vice President and SFRTA Director of Public Affairs, Victor Garcia. Victor? All right, the suckers have it. Yeah, I see. His turn.
Thank you. Hard to follow Richard Blattner, so I'll be very brief. Our COMPTO president could not be here, so she sends her regards to Keisha Davis. We are a very humble chapter, which one of our goals is to ensure that minorities have a seat at the table, which I am very grateful for, as that's how I'm standing here, and many others. But I want to thank the SFRTA not only for that, but also because SFRTA also launched the chapter. So we're responsible for that, and it's been fun to see it grow to where it's at today. But at the same time, I also want to thank Broward County, because right now, the last few years, they've been very involved and actually have the largest amount of members of the organization, thanks to them. And I know that they're going to help where we go into the future. But lastly, want to thank Greg and the Broward MPO. It's great to be recognized by an organization that does so much for public transportation. So thank you.
Greg's getting his workout. You've got some more awards to hand out. We're on to award number 3, and this is the Visionary Award. I want to welcome to the stage Vicus Jane of T.Y. Lin, which is a host sponsor. And Vicus leads T.Y. Lin's international transportation planning practice for the state of Florida. And over the past 20 years, he has delivered more than 50 transportation planning and traffic engineering projects that run the gamut from transit feasibility studies and traffic impact analysis to long-range transportation plans and complete street projects. So please welcome our presenter, Vicus Jane.
Thank you, JC. Good afternoon. I have a long list of accomplishments to cover, so I'll get down straight to business. State Representative Christine Hunchkowski was elected to the Florida House of Representatives for District 96 in November 2020. She was the mayor of Parkland from 2016 to 2020. While mayor, Representative Hunchkowski led her city through the aftermath of the mass shootings at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School. She was appointed to co-chair the United States Conference of Mayors Small Cities Forum and testified before the Gun Violence Prevention Task Force of the 116th Congress. In the Florida House, she is on the Education and Employment Committee and 5 subcommittees, including Congressional Redistricting, Environmental, Agriculture and Flooding, Finance and Facilities, State Administration and Technology Appropriations, and Early Education and Elementary Education. Today, we honor her for her vision to shape the future of our region. She is a firm supporter of the work that Broward MPO does to help our county evolve to meet the needs of the growing population and more crowded roadways. Please welcome Representative Christine Hunchkowski.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be back in Broward. We had special session this week, so it's good to be home. I'm Christine Hunchkowski, and I was very proud to serve as the representative from Parkland on the Broward MPO board for several years. Planning does seem to be a little boring on the surface. No offense, Greg. But when you see the difference it makes in people's lives, that's where it really comes to life. Vision Zero for me was something that really touched my heart about thinking about how dangerous it is for people on the roads and the fatalities. It's one of the reasons why I worked with Greg and local elected officials to pass a bike and pedestrian safety bill this first session that I served. And I think we all have a role to play in that. We all have a role. What I love about what the MPO does is they're really about, we had these strategic planning where it's about bringing the communities in. Our speaker earlier talked about having those micro, hyper-local solutions, because while there are bigger transportation ways of getting around. It's the local, that last mile, that first mile, how this community feels. Gotta love those roundabouts. And I think that's great. And one of my favorite things, was the Think Like a Planner. So MPO has high school students come in, and it was actually teaching me also to think like a planner. And they would go out and look at the roads and the streets and the sidewalks and say, what can we do to make things better? And it's a great way to bring awareness already at a young age of the importance of connectivity, of our communities, reflecting the people who live there and facilitating their lives. So I just want to say thank you very much. I want to thank Greg and the whole MPO team. I want to congratulate my fellow awardees. I'm going to say Chair Blattner because that's what I'm used to calling him, and Sheila Rose. And thank you all for all you do to make transportation more accessible and more safe in the Broward County. Thank you.
Congratulations. She's got some extra cheers. Okay, are you guys ready for our last award? It is the Community Impact Award, and I would like to bring another presenter on the stage. It is John Hatch this time. John is the Southeast Regional Sales Manager for BYD Motors, also a host sponsor for today, and he has more than 25 years of experience in the sale of traditional buses and now premium electric buses. He has a vested interest in cities that are advancing their public transportation footprint. So John Hatch is now going to present our next award.
Thank you, JC. Sheila Rose is a Deputy City Manager of Coconut Creek. She is an ICMA Credential Manager with professional degree in urban and regional planning from the University of Cincinnati. Sheila is a member of the International City Managers Association, the Broward County Managers Association, the American Institute of Certified Planners, the American Planning Association, the United States Green Building Council, and is a past member of the Pompano Beach Architectural Review Board. She was a founding president of SOS Children's Village, Florida, and the national umbrella organization of SOS USA, serving foster children internationally. She currently serves as vice chair of the Broward County Parks Foundation. We applaud Sheila Rose for her impact on projects that help Coconut Creek flourish as a vibrant city. Please welcome Sheila Rose to the stage.
Well, I promised I would be extremely brief, and it's really exciting to look out and see 350 of my closest friends. We work together, we have worked together for years, and I just want to give accolades to Greg and his staff. The sea change that is Broward County that has occurred over the last 15 years is due to his leadership and his tenacity. And what I really appreciate is Coconut Creek's opportunity that they've always offered to try the creative, to try something new, to work to transform our community. And we're seeing it every day. We saw last week with green bike lanes starting to get introduced on Lyons Road, and it just has made the world of difference. It takes years to do these transportation projects, and just the tenacity is so appreciated. So thank you, and I certainly appreciate
Congratulations to all our honorees. You guys are a tight bunch. This has been a lot of fun. So I just want to say on behalf of the Broward MPO board and the strong team behind the scenes, we congratulate everyone for today. We thank our sponsors who made this day possible, and all of you for taking the time to be here. This is a big deal. We haven't done this in a while, right? I wanted to go ahead and tell you, are you guys ready to look under your dessert plate for those of you who haven't already munched on it and finished it off? Under your dessert plate, one of you gets to take home those super cool centerpieces that were very creative. So can you see who the winners are? We have a little plane at our table. It's cute. You guys got to check all the dessert plates. I think Richard's table has the best one. See, dessert's even more fun. All right, and I have to tell you, the party is not over yet. After you figure out who gets the centerpieces, on your way out in the parking lot, feel free to check out the BYD electric bus. It's located on the left when you walk outside, right? And also Wheels Labs has electric bikes for you to demo if you guys are feeling a little frisky. And Circuit can deliver you to your car. I don't know if it's still raining out there, but you can get direct delivery to your car. Did everybody have a great time today? I hope everybody has a fabulous Thanksgiving. I know Greg has more to say, but thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. You're so sweet. You're awesome. Keep being you. All right, everybody. See you next year. Be safe, and let's make things happen.